Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages podcast. I am your host, Kim Wannop, and it's a little late for Happy New Year, but it is the first episode of the year. I usually do take a little break in December, January, after all of the nomination type of interviews, and now getting into Oscar and ADG interviews for voting. So I do take a little break, and I have been pretty busy too. And then there was the LA fires, which, if you haven't seen that devastation or heard of it, you're living under a rock. But it's awful. It was awful. And I just felt that I couldn't really just put out happiness on this podcast while that was going on. And then I was going to do a podcast, and then it was the inauguration, and then I really didn't feel like talking happy thoughts. So here I am. It's February, and how are you? I hope you are well. I hope that you were not affected by the LA fires. I know way too many people who lost their homes. Crew members in location departments, transpo, set dressing, painters, actors. It's it's unreal, and I can't imagine it happening to myself. And I think when you see it, even if my home burnt down, but then to look around and see everything around you is gone, it's just so devastating and awful. I'm going to give you a list of places compiled by my friend Monica Soto. Thank you, Monica, for donating, and just to think about, if you haven't given a little something, maybe this will spark you to. There are the IATSE Fire Relief Volunteering, and via the local 80 and the Costume Designers Guild. There's a sign-up sheet. There's, I know that they were taking donations. I know a lot of the donations have stopped because it was overwhelming and they got so much. ADG, the Art Directors Guild, has volunteering, and it's also Local 44 has volunteering. You can check out all their sites for these details. One of the ones Monica had recommended, and then I have looked into and support, is Altadena Girls, which is a bunch of young girls who lived in Altadena and put together a support system for teens who were affected by the fires, and I just think it's fantastic. The LA Strong, they're always looking. American Red Cross, Baby to Baby, California Fire Foundation, the Salvation Army, the World Central Kitchen, that's always very helpful. I saw them out there. And so there's many, many ways to help people here. A very special donation center is being supported by the Set Decorator Society of America, and Local 44 and IATSE is Zello, and they have drop-offs and pickups at 4139 West Olive Avenue in Burbank. You can also donate on their Zello website, and they have also acquired a lot of furniture from Bridge Props here in Los Angeles, who, I gotta say, it's another real blow to us, is going out of business. Another prop house going out of business, and that's such a bummer. It's really heartbreaking. I loved their items. Joanne and everyone who worked there was so into it and so helpful and so just nice to work with. So beautiful pieces that I think, I guess, a good timing that they're able to donate to the Zello support. I also just saw you can look at the Lost Stuffy project, which I think is adorable and that I'm supporting, about children who lost their favorite stuffed animals and you help replace them. And that, to me, when I think about, oh, it was just Christmas, and now these poor kids lost all their gifts, and I know that's shallow thinking, but that's a lot. to kids, like, that's a lot. They didn't go back in, for their favorite dolls or anything. They were evacuated fairly quickly. So, please help any way you can, and, yeah, it's devastating. I'd have to say too, because our show, Dr. Odyssey, has been shooting on the beach a lot. I have been driving up and down, Pacific Coast Highway a lot this past couple months, and so I'm familiar with it. Anyone who lives in LA is familiar with Coast Drive. It's gorgeous. So, but I feel like lately I've been on that road a lot, and to think like it went from there to there is unreal. Like, and then to see like, oh, here's where Moon Shadows used to be, like one of my favorite restaurants that I would take people who visited, or anything, the people houses and these gorgeous homes. And so, yeah, I hate to start off this this podcast on a downer. I'm sorry, but that's life. This is what we're going through out here. And for people who work in this industry, who have lived through the pandemic and the strikes, and now to lose their homes, it's more than devastating. I cannot say enough how much we need to support filming in Los Angeles and bringing Hollywood back to Hollywood. I don't know how to do it because it's all about money, and it's all about, these incentives to spend here. And I don't know. I know we need more incentives, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to make that go quickly, I guess. And I would hope that other people smarter than me can make that happen. We'll see. What else? I then need to talk about award season, which seems like a weird transition here. We'll talk a little bit about the Art Directors Guild put out their nominations, and when is the guild? The ADG Awards are, I believe, Saturday the 15th, so voting is open now. And I'm going to say I'm a little bitter. Dr. Odyssey wasn't nominated for contemporary. I'm not going to lie to you. I think our sets are pretty good. I think it's very, very hard to have a network show be nominated these days. And we talk about that a lot at the Emmys, about nominations going only to streaming. And they have more money, and you know, it's hard. It's hard to compete with bigger budget shows. And it is, when all of our budgets are super tight, it feels like. But on a network show, especially, trying to get recognition is very hard. So I'm not gonna lie, I was super disappointed. I might have said some things I shouldn't have said to people who won't repeat it. um, Everybody works really hard. That's the bottom line. If you work in an art department, you work really hard. So kudos to all those nominated for the Art Directors Guild Awards. And we have the Oscars, and that is The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. And wow, I mean, there's so many good films. And again, it's hard to narrow it down to five. Voting is hard. Voting is hard sometimes, because especially with the Oscars, because it's only one category, at least with the ADGs, contemporaries up against contemporary, periods up against period. You got a contemporary conclave up against Dune. How's that going to go? I don't know. Dune is like unbelievable. Nosferatu, who I spoke to that team, unbelievable. And so there again, it's a really hard decision for that. I do want to talk about maybe just to back it up a little, and just an intro into this podcast. My name is Kim Wannop. I'm a set decorator. And if you're just joining this podcast for the first time, welcome. We go behind the scenes of production design and set decorating, or talking with below the line creatives who work as editors or location managers, anyone who's getting the job done. So, welcome to this podcast if this is your first time. And I like to talk about what I'm watching. I like to talk about old films to check out as references for beautiful production design. and I have a series of film study of going back and watching Oscar-nominated films. This year, I would like to focus on specific works by specific people, specific production designers, specific set decorators that, number one, because it's me, influenced me and their work and the work that their work influenced. It's a great thing to look back at our history in this design field and look for the beautiful work that came before us and how it influenced future work. So that's my goal this season for the podcast, is to really highlight specific designers and decorators for their work. And so, yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'd like to do what Wannop's watching, what I'm watching. I watch a lot of TV, I'm not gonna lie. Um, I have watched recently Rebel Without a Cause because it's the 60th anniversary of that film, and what a love song to LA that that film is. And really, I mean, I don't love the movie, but to see the Griffith Observatory, and it's just a really good LA film, and the period and the clothes, and yeah, I mean, the shots of it are so iconic that it is a good film. It's just kind of a weird, like, teenage angst kind of film, and but yeah, 60 years. That's a good one. I am obsessed with the show Severance. Like anyone who watches it probably is. That production designer is Jeremy Hindle and set decorator David Schlesinger. I pronounce names wrong all the time, by the way, and I apologize. They're doing a tremendous job on this season. Hopefully I'm giving credit to the second season people. I find the show fascinating. The design of it is fascinating. This past week they did like this huge office with rolling hills of greenery for goats to graze, and it was fantastic. And I believe it, and I'm in. So there was this first shot in, I believe, the first episode of a conference room, and the chairs are so simple and so beautiful, and it's like 30 chairs on each side. The quantity is like fantastic to me, but the language that it gives in the scene is just gorgeous. So I like had to pause it and take a look at these chairs because they were unreal. So the design of Severance, I think, is fantastic. If anybody wants to check that out. What else? I think that's it. I think that's the intro for this season 8 of Decorating Pages. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to send me questions, I am at Kim Wannop at decoratingpagespodcast.com. I tend to put every single episode up on YouTube so that you can follow along with the scenes and sets that we are talking about, so that's helpful. And Instagram is at Decorating Pages. And I don't do Twitter. I don't really do Facebook. I'm really just Instagram. I might give up on TikTok. I'm a huge fan of TikTok, but it doesn't seem sustainable or something to me. I don't know. They could just shut that shit down and then now it's back. I don't know. But I love it. But I guess I'll still post on there because I have it all set up already. So why not, right? But yes. So please, any questions you have, please email me. If you have questions even about past episodes that I can give some answers to. If you have a production designer that you feel needs to be recognized, if it's you, just reach out. Why not? That's why I'm here. I love talking about the work. I love talking about our process. And I really am here to educate everyone on how hard we work. So yeah. So you will get an earful this year, once again. And I hope you enjoy.